Hello all, I hope you've had a good week this week. I am back with a mixed media project and I was commissioned to make a plaque for the wall of a baby girl. The lady who wanted this wanted it to be kind of pink and grey and white, and she gave me a specific quote to put on it, and she wanted owls and hearts and butterflies, so hopefully you'll think I've achieved that by the end of the video. So at the moment I'm just using some matte medium by De La Rowney, and I'm adhering strips of paper that I've just torn from loads of different places. Some of it's scrapbook paper, 12 by 12, other is 6 by 6, and just scraps that I have hanging around, and I am alternating them, and I'm doing like one sort of line of pink and then one line of grey, sticking them down, and then I am putting matte medium over the top as well because I want to make a non-porous surface. And now that I've done that, I'm just cutting off the excess strips on the end, just with a pair of scissors. I did try with a craft knife, but it didn't really work because the papers were all different thicknesses and they were just kind of shredding a bit. I should point out that none of these papers are coordinating. They're not from the same kit or anything like that. They are just literally bits and pieces that I could lay my hands on. And then I decided that I wanted to cover the whole thing with a layer of gesso, just to make the canvas feel a bit more uniform and pull the different colours and patterns together. And now I am adding some paint. This is Ducraft's Artiste paint in pink blush, and I'm just swiping it on at random. And this is liquid acrylic paint, so it's not completely opaque. It does have some transparency to it, so you can see the patterns as you put the paint on. And now I'm adding some grey. This is dark grey. Again, it's a Ducraft's Artiste liquid acrylic. This one is a bit more opaque, and I'm just making sure that I go over. I do cover up a bit of the pink that I've put on already, but I try to kind of make it random. And then I'm just drying the grey paint with a heat gun, and that is because I don't want the grey and the pink to mix with the next colour, which is going to be white. I want the white to stay clean, so I just made sure that the other two colours were dry. And I do layer the white up, but I didn't want them to blend together. I wanted them to stay as kind of discrete blocks of colour. And now I'm using some metallic pink. Again, it's a Ducrafts Artiste. Oh no, it might not be metallic actually, it's pearl. It's one of their pearl range. And I'm just using a makeup sponge and a heart-shaped stencil, and I'm just daubing the paint around the stencil to create some shimmery pink hearts. Hopefully you can see the shimmer on that. And then I'm using this scalloped stencil from, I think it's the Crafters Workshop, and some modelling paste. And I'm just pushing the modelling paste through the stencil to give a bit of texture. And now the modelling paste is dry, but you can't really see it, as you can see, and that's because it dries quite creamy in colour. So what I tend to do is go over the modelling paste with a white Posca pen. You could use a paintbrush and acrylic. I just find, for me, the Posca pen is more accurate. I'm not very good at painting small, accurate little details without blobbing it everywhere. So I use the Posca paint pen to give me more accuracy. And you can see straight away that it really makes the modelling paste pop a bit more. And now that I'm finished with that, I decided that I wanted to outline the pearly hearts. So I'm just taking out my Reeves watercolour crayons. They are water-soluble crayons, and I'm going round them with the white first, and then I'm just kind of sketching the the grey on very, very gently, blending it in with my finger, and then going over it with the white again. And that's because I didn't want a really hard, obvious edge. I just wanted it to be really soft and blend really nicely together and not really stick out too much. And now I'm using my script stencil and some grey Versa Fine ink, and I'm just inking up the stamp, and I am just pressing it down, and I'm trying to make sure it overlaps the hearts a little bit, it overlaps the modelling paste a little bit, just to give a feeling of randomness and layers. And now I've got some butterfly stamps in 3 different sizes. This is the largest one that you can see me just cleaning off there. It doesn't stick very well to my acrylic block. Both the stamp and the acrylic block are quite mucky, so it falls off at one point in a minute, but you know, just go with the flow. And I'm just stamping this on all over the canvas. Oh, there it goes. And I am working in 3s, so I'm using the rule of 3 here because that's more pleasing to the eye, and it allows the eye to kind of move around the canvas a bit better, although you're not going to really see this, but I am working in 3s at the moment. So I've just taken the stamp off the block there and just stamped the bottom of that butterfly again because I didn't get a good impression the first time. And now I'm using the middle-sized butterfly. It's like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. First, Goldilocks used the big butterfly. Then Goldilocks used the little butterfly. You can tell I've been reading to my child again. Everything I do seems to relate to nursery rhymes or children's books right now. That is where my head is at. Anyway, so yeah, I've used again the rule of 3s, and now I'm on the smallest butterfly. I should point out that I don't have blonde hair. Goldilocks is using the smallest butterfly, and this time I don't use 3s. I stamp all over the page because it's nice and small, and I cluster them together in some places. And I should apologise because I completely forgot to switch the camera on. So what I did was I printed off the name Serena, which is the name of the little girl that I'm doing this canvas for, and I used a VersaFine embossing pen and went over the letters with embossing pen, and then when it was all embossed, I went over it again with the VersaFine pen and then the silver embossing powder to give a real thick, shiny look to the words. And now what I'm doing is I have printed off the quotes in grey on textured white cardstock from my computer, and because inkjet printer ink smears and blotches when you put anything wet on it, I'm going over it with microglaze. This is Judikins microglaze, but you can get a Tim Holtz microglaze as well, and it just creates a kind of waxy coating over the paper and makes it non-porous so that you don't get the ink bleeding when you add matte medium or other mediums to it. And now I'm just positioning my quote on the page. I am going to adhere everything down with matte medium again. So now what I've done is I have used this cute little owl stamp, and I have stamped it out 3 times onto some textured white cardstock, and now I'm just using my Caran d'Ache watercolour pencils to just colour in the owls. And I do go back once they're stuck down on the canvas, and I go over them with Docraft Artiste watercolour pens because once they were down on the canvas they really didn't show up very well, and I needed to make them stand out a bit more, but I again forgot to put on my camera, so sorry, I've kind of neglected to film that bit. So I just kind of colour in random feathers on the owls because I didn't want to colour in all of them. I think that would have been a bit overpowering, so I just picked 3 colours of pink, coloured in random feathers all over the owl, and then went in with some light grey and did the same thing, just kind of coloured in random feathers so that it didn't overpower the rest of the canvas. And you can see here, unfortunately, again, I forgot to put on my camera, once I stuck down the words, I went around them with the same watercolour crayons that I did when I went round the hearts. I used just a pink, and I just sketched round the words, and then blended them in, and I think I went over it again with white, just to kind of knock it into the background. But this means that the sentiment looks like it's part of the canvas and it's blended in, rather than looking like it is just stuck on, if that makes sense. And now I'm getting out my watercolour pens, and I'm just going round the owls where they've been stuck onto the canvas, and I'm just giving them a bit of a shadow, blending them in, so again they don't look like they're just purely stuck on as well, they look like they're part of the finished piece. And then I've pulled out some of these just little random pink flowers that I just had sitting in my stash. You can see all the flowers there in the left that I've kind of pulled out to try and use, and just positioning them in those three clusters where the owls are. And this is a bit where, again, I forgot to switch on my camera. I was obviously having a day of just trying to get it done and just kept forgetting to switch on the camera. But I add in the pink flowers, and then I add in some pink roses, and then I go a bit bonkers and I add in a lot of little white flowers. They're paper flowers, they're from Hobbycraft, and yeah, pretty much used the whole packet actually. I just kept adding them, and it just kept looking like they were kind of falling from the top of the canvas, and it ended up looking really pretty, and you'll see that in the finished shots. But I layer up these pink flowers by I first stick down the kind of bigger blooms, and then I go and find some smaller kind of coordinating colours from another packet, and then I give them little centres as well by using even smaller flowers. So I'm just kind of building up the bloom by using kind of different sizes of flower, but also different shades of pink as I go along. So here you can see me getting out the little pink rosebuds. Again, they're just paper flowers from Hobbycraft. You can get them in any Hobbycraft shop, I believe, and just kind of sticking them down to kind of build up those clusters even more. And so here's the finished thing. You can see all those little white paper flowers that I've just randomly stuck all over the page now, and I think it turned out really nicely. This is definitely not a colour scheme that I would have chosen for myself, but the client wanted pinks, whites and greys, lots of hearts, flowers and some owls and butterflies and things, so I think I fulfilled that, and she picked it up yesterday and she was really happy with it, so I can only say that I fulfilled the brief, I guess. I really like it, it's really pretty, but yeah, pinky things are not really my thing. So yeah, but I'll show you some close-up shots in a minute. And if you liked this, then please subscribe to my page and let me know what you think. I'd really love to hear from you with a comment, or just go over to my Facebook page. I'll put the link below this video, and let me know what you think, or have a look through my other work. I hope you have a really great week, and hopefully I'll get another video posted next Wednesday. Thanks for watching. Bye.